Here's a Kenvue rebounding today despite the Trump administration's announcement linking Tylenol to autism. Our Angelica Peebles has the latest. Morning, Angelica.
Morning, Carl. That's right. Well, the Trump administration advising pregnant women against taking acetaminophen, that's the active ingredient in Tylenol, during pregnancy, and they're also moving to approve a drug for the symptoms of autism. So let's start with Tylenol. The FDA is starting the process of updating the label of Tylenol and other products that contain the pain reliever to reflect evidence suggesting that taking the drug while pregnant may be associated with a higher risk of neurological conditions like autism. And during the press briefing yesterday, President Trump told pregnant women not to take Tylenol more than 24 times without offering any new evidence. And, meanwhile, you have the FDA sending a letter to doctors that was much more measured, saying that while an association between acetaminophen and autism has been described in many studies, a causal relationship has not been established, and there are contrary studies in the scientific literature. The association is an ongoing area of scientific debate, and clinicians should be aware of the issue in their clinical decision-making. Now, the FDA is also moving to approve an old GSK drug to treat the symptoms of autism. And GSK stopped selling the brand name Welcovarin almost 30 years ago, but updating that label of the branded drug will help the generic versions of Leucovorin add the indication to their labels. So that's why they need to do that. But a GSK spokesperson telling me that the company has no plans to bring its drug back to market. And the drug is currently approved to help with toxicity from some cancer treatment, but it has shown some promise in helping nonverbal patients with autism. We need to be really careful here, though. The studies on this are small, and this is not a treatment that's believed to be widely beneficial. It's one that people think there should be more research on, but at this point, definitely not a cure, guys.
Angelica, what's been the best read so far about how Kenvue may or may not respond to yesterday's presser?
Well, we've heard them from the beginning since before this briefing yesterday. All of the reporting suggested that this was going to be the case, and Kenvue has been pushing back quite significantly, saying that there is no link, no science has shown that there is a link between taking Tylenol and autism. And so we've seen them proactively going after this. However, I have not heard from them since then. I haven't seen anything on social media yet. That'll be my next plan of attack later today to see exactly how they're responding. But I do think you're going to see pushback from them and also just the medical community at large. You've already seen the WHO and other global regulators talking about how they find no new evidence that suggests this is a problem, that really saying that the U.S. is standing alone in calling this out as a potential risk.
Yeah, Angelica, the American College of Obstetrics and Gynecology are not changing its view on the use of Tylenol or acetaminophen in pregnancy. The Society for Maternal Fetal Medicine, they're affirming its guidance for this use. I mean, it seems to me that RFK had come out and said, look, we're going to come up with a cause and a reason for autism. We're going to do it by September, and that he was going to present a smoking gun. And this is the smoking gun. I'm sorry, but there's no new research presented. I've been pregnant. I've taken Tylenol. I would do absolutely anything to protect the health of my unborn child. And doing that was taking Tylenol. I was very sick. I was in the hospital. That's what the doctor recommended. That's what I did. I normally stay very apolitical, but I think this is a very political-based decision. This is not backed in science. And if it's me, I'm taking my advice from doctors. I'm not taking it from politicians. I am happy that investors are seeing through this and that Kenvue shares are higher today.
Yeah, and I think that raises a good point about why people were so nervous going into this announcement. Do they have a smoking gun? Is there new research that they're finding that we haven't yet seen? And you did not really hear that. And even, again, the difference between the tone that you heard in that briefing room yesterday and then looking at exactly what the FDA is telling doctors, where, maybe you should have a conversation with patients and talk to them about what we know, what we don't know, and give them their options. But like you said, Courtney, there really is nothing else you can take during pregnancy. So this is the only option. And actually, fever and pain can be very, very detrimental to the health of that unborn child. And so having that conversation is important. But again, at this point, not quite something that we can say this is the cause.
Angelica, thanks. Appreciate that. Angelica Peebles watching Kenvue today on that rebound.